Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. So today we're diving into the feedback fallacy, an article from Harvard Business Review that you all sent our way.
Oh, yeah. This one is really interesting.
It really makes you think differently about how we give and receive feedback. All those best practices we think we know.
Well, yeah, it challenges a lot of those conventional ideas, right?
Exactly.
It argues that a lot of our traditional approaches to feedback might actually be holding us back.
Yeah, and the authors, Buckingham and Goodall, they really kind of lay out a compelling case
They do.
for why we need to rethink this whole feedback thing.
Yeah, they start by debunking what they call these three sort of like foundational theories that we often take for granted when it comes to feedback.
Okay, so what are these theories that we're all messed up about?
Well, the first one is what they call the source of truth theory,
Okay.
which is this idea that we're all objective and reliable judges of other people's abilities.
Right, like we think we have this clear vision of someone's strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. Like we think we can just, look at someone and accurately assess their communication skills or their leadership potential or whatever.
Oh yeah, totally. And we base so many decisions on those evaluations too.
Oh, absolutely.
Promotions raises even, someone's entire career trajectory sometimes.
And the article's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is that really true? Like, are we really as objective as we think we are?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
And, they bring in some research showing that we're actually really bad at judging other people.
We are.
Yeah, like there's all these biases and subjective perceptions that cloud our judgment.
It's like we all have these blind spots,
Exactly. And they use this great analogy of color blindness.
Oh, I love a good analogy. Okay, tell me.
So imagine someone who's colorblind, right? They can't accurately describe the redness of a rose.
Right.
It doesn't matter how hard they try or how many people they ask. Their perception is just fundamentally flawed.
Yeah, because their eyes just don't see those colors the same way.
Exactly. And the article argues that when it comes to judging abstract qualities in other people, we're all a bit colorblind.
That's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is, right?
Like all those performance reviews where we're rating people on things like initiative or problem solving.
Yeah, like how do we even define those things objectively?
Well, yeah.
Everyone has their own interpretation.
Totally. So it's not just that we have different opinions, it's that our brains are wired to make these errors in judgment.
Yeah, it's baked into our perception.
Okay, so that's the first theory, the source of truth.
Right.
What's the second one they debunk?
So the second theory is the theory of learning.
Yeah.
This is the idea that, learning is like filling up an empty vessel.
Right, to just pour in the missing knowledge.
Exactly. You just identify the gaps in someone's skill set and then you train them on those specific things.
Yeah, okay, you need to improve your presentation skills, so here's a workshop on PowerPoint.
Right, exactly. But Buckingham and Goodall, they're like, hold up,
Yeah.
Learning isn't that simple.
What is it then?
They argue that learning is actually much more about building on existing strengths.
Okay, so instead of focusing on what someone's bad at you, focus on what they're good at.
Exactly, because those strengths are unique to each individual.
So it's less about fixing weaknesses and more about amplifying what someone's already naturally good at.
Yeah, it's like playing to their strengths.
Yeah, and that makes sense when you think about how people learn best.
Yeah.
Right?
Really.
You're way more likely to be engaged and motivated when you're doing something you enjoy and you're naturally good at
Oh, absolutely.
than if you're constantly being told you're not good enough at this or that.
Right. It's about tapping into that intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, okay, so we've got the source of truth and the theory of learning.
Mm-hmm.
What's the third theory that they challenge?
So the third one is the theory of excellence.
Okay, so how are we all messed up about excellence?
Well, we tend to think of excellence as this kind of fixed target that everyone should be aiming for.
Right, there's this one right way to be a leader or a salesperson or whatever.
Exactly. But Buckingham and Goodall, they suggest that excellence is actually much more about individual expression.
Oh, interesting. So it's not about conforming to some predefined mold.
Not at all. It's about finding your own best way.
Okay, so it's like saying there's no one right way to do anything.
Yeah, because what works for one person might not work for another.
Right, and that's okay.
It's more than okay. It's actually essential for true excellence.
So it's about embracing those individual differences and helping people shine in their own unique ways.
Exactly, because that's where true innovation and creativity comes from.
Okay, so they've debunked these three theories: source of truth, theory of learning, and theory of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they go from there?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting because they start to connect all of this to the brain science of feedback.
Oh, okay, so how does our brain actually respond to feedback?
Well, they argue that negative feedback often backfires.
Like when someone criticizes us,
Exactly, because it triggers the fight or flight response in our brain.
like a stress response.
Yeah, exactly. Our body floods with all these stress hormones.
And that shuts down our ability to learn.
Yeah, it makes us defensive and less receptive to new information.
So when you're getting criticized, your brain is basically going into survival mode, not learning mode.
Exactly.
No wonder it's so hard to take in feedback when you're feeling attacked.
Right. And on the flip side, they talk about how focusing on strengths actually activates the opposite response in the brain.
Oh, so it's like a calming effect.
Exactly. It triggers what's called the rest and digest system.
Okay, I'm liking this.
Yeah, it creates this sense of safety and well-being, which is much more conducive to learning and growth.
So it's like you're creating this positive feedback loop where the more you focus on someone's strengths, the more they're able to learn and grow.
Precisely.
Okay, I'm starting to see why they call this the feedback fallacy.
Yay.
It's like we've been doing it backwards all along.
In a lot of ways, yes.
Okay, so if negative feedback is so counterproductive, what do they suggest we do instead?
Well, they propose a really interesting alternative, which they call focusing on reactions, not judgments.
Okay, what does that mean?
So instead of giving like generic praise or correction,
Right.
they suggest sharing your authentic responses to someone's work.
So like how their work made you feel.
Exactly. It's about helping people understand the impact their actions have on you.
So it's more about describing your experience than evaluating their performance.
Precisely.
Interesting.
And they argue that this is much more specific and helpful than just saying, good job or needs improvement.
Because it gives the person concrete information about how their work is being received.
Exactly. And it opens up a space for dialogue and understanding.
I like that. So instead of saying you need to improve your communication skills, you might say something like, here's where I started to lose you in the presentation.
Exactly. It's about giving specific, observable feedback that the person can actually use.
Yeah, that's much more actionable than just a general critique.
And you know what? They actually provide a really helpful table in the article.
Oh, tell me more about this table.
Yeah, it's called Instead of Triply.
Okay.
And it gives all these specific examples of what to say instead of the typical feedback phrases we often fall back on.
Ooh, I love that kind of practical advice.
It's super helpful, right? Because it's one thing to understand the theory, but it's another thing to know what to actually say in those real-world situations.
Yeah.
So that table is like a cheat sheet for giving better feedback.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
You should. It's really good.
So it sounds like we're just scratching the surface here.
We are.
There's a lot more to unpack in terms of those actionable strategies and how to actually put this reaction-based feedback into practice.
There is, and that's exactly where we're headed next time.
Awesome. Can't wait to dive in.
All right, so let's dig into that Instead of Triply table from the article.
Yes, let's get practical.
It says it really gives you some concrete language to use, right? To shift from that judgmental feedback to something that's more observational and helpful.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us, we fall into those like default feedback phrases,
Right.
like good job or needs improvement.
It's so easy to just like slap a label on something.
Right. It feels efficient.
Yeah, but it's not very effective
No.
because it doesn't really give the person any specific information about what they did well or what they could do differently.
And it can make them feel judged instead of understood,
Exactly.
which shuts down learning.
Totally. So for example,
Yeah.
instead of saying you need to be more strategic,
Ooh, yeah, that's a classic.
right,
What would be a better way to phrase that?
they suggest trying something like, I'm struggling to understand how this plan will help us achieve our goals.
Okay, so it's more about expressing your own experience
Exactly.
and inviting the person into a conversation.
Right. It's like saying, hey, help me understand your thinking here.
Yeah, instead of just like dictating what they should be doing.
And that's so important because it creates that safe space for dialogue where you can both explore the issue together.
Right.
And speaking of exploring issues together,
Yeah.
they have this other really interesting strategy in the article called the highest priority interrupt.
Okay, that sounds kind of intense.
It is in a good way.
Okay, tell me more.
So in computer science, a highest priority interrupt is basically a critical event that demands immediate attention.
Right, like something that needs to be addressed right away.
Exactly. And Buckingham and Goodall, they argue that we should treat moments of excellence in the same way.
Oh, so like if you see someone doing something amazing.
We stop everything and you dissect it with them right then and there.
Oh, wow. So don't wait for a performance review or anything.
No, seize the moment.
Because in that moment, their brain is primed for learning.
Exactly. They're energized, they're confident, they're more likely to absorb and retain the feedback.
Yeah, it's like striking while the iron is hot.
Right. It's about capitalizing on that peak performance state.
It makes me think of those times when you're learning a new skill and you finally have that breakthrough moment where everything clicks.
Yes.
And if someone could just capture that moment and help you understand what you did right,
It would be so valuable.
it would be like gold.
And that's exactly what the highest priority interrupt is all about. It's about making those moments of excellence teachable moments.
I love that.
Yeah.
But okay, let's be realistic.
Okay.
Not every situation allows for that kind of like immediate feedback.
Right.
What about those times when you need to address a problem or help someone course correct?
That's where their strategy of exploring the present, past, and future comes in.
Okay, present, past, future. I'm intrigued.
It's a really helpful framework for guiding someone to their own solutions,
Okay.
rather than just telling them what to do.
So how does it work?
So first, you start by focusing on the present,
Okay.
and you help the person identify what's currently working for them, even if it's not directly related to the problem at hand.
So it's about starting with their strengths, not their weaknesses.
Exactly, because it gets them into a more positive and resourceful mindset.
Okay.
Then you move to the past, and you encourage them to recall past successes.
Okay, so you're like tapping into their own experience.
Exactly. You might ask questions like, what worked for you then? What strategies did you use?
I like that because it's like reminding them that they've faced challenges before and they've overcome them.
Yeah, and then finally you move to the future, and you guide them towards solutions they already know.
Wait, so we already have the answers?
Often we do, we just need a little help bringing them to the surface.
Oh, okay.
So you ask empowering questions like, what do you already know you need to do? If you had to choose one thing to focus on right now, what would it be?
Okay, so it's about being a facilitator, not a fixer.
Exactly. And they emphasize the importance of focusing on concrete actions, the whats, rather than the whys.
Okay, so less abstract concepts, more specific steps.
Right, because that's what actually leads to change.
This whole approach is so empowering because it really puts the person at the center of their own development. They're not just passively receiving feedback. They're actively engaged in the learning process.
Exactly, and that's how real growth happens.
Yeah, so instead of saying, you need to improve your communication skills,
Right.
you might try asking, what do you think might help people understand your ideas more clearly?
Exactly, because that question invites them to think critically about their own approach.
Yeah, and it gives them ownership over the solution.
And the article has a bunch of these examples in that instead of Hetry table.
Oh yeah, give me another one.
Okay, so instead of saying, you're not meeting deadlines.
Oof. Yeah, that one always stings.
Right.
So what could you say instead?
You could say, how do you think we can get this project back on track?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's about shifting from a mindset of fixing to a mindset of growing.
Right, because everyone has their own unique strengths and talents.
Exactly. And our role is to help them cultivate those strengths, not try to fit them into some predefined mold.
This is really challenging me to rethink my whole approach to feedback.
Me-
So what are some key takeaways you hope listeners will walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that feedback isn't about being right or wrong.
Okay.
It's about creating a shared understanding.
I like that.
And to do that effectively, we need to shift our focus from judgment to curiosity, from evaluation to exploration.
Yeah, it's about treating each person as the expert on their own experience
Exactly.
and creating a safe space for them to learn and grow.
And that's something we can all do regardless of our role or position.
Yeah, whether you're a manager, a colleague, or a friend, you can practice these strategies.
And help create a more human-centered approach to feedback.
Yeah, it's about creating a culture of growth and development where everyone feels supported and empowered.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if our listeners are ready to ditch the feedback fallacy and start creating this more human-centered approach to feedback.
This article is a must-read.
It is.
I mean, we've only scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
And that Instead on Half-Tree Table is such a valuable resource. So definitely check it out and start putting these ideas into practice.
Okay, so we've really unpacked a lot here about feedback
We have.
and like how these traditional models often just don't work.
Yeah, they can really miss the mark.
It makes you wonder though, like, what does a better future for feedback even look like?
It's a big question, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, the article doesn't like lay out a roadmap or anything,
Right.
but it definitely gives us some clues, you know?
Okay, so what are some of those clues? What direction are they pointing us in?
Well, if we really believe that excellence is unique to each person,
Yeah.
then maybe our goal shouldn't be to create these like cookie-cutter employees.
Right, like everyone fitting into the same mold.
Exactly. It's more about helping people discover their own paths to success.
Their own unique strengths.
Yeah, and that means creating work environments that are truly supportive of individual growth, you know?
Okay, so what would that look like?
Well, I think it starts with creating a sense of safety.
Psychological safety.
Exactly, where people feel comfortable experimenting and making mistakes.
Yeah, because that's how we learn.
It is, and it's also about shifting the focus from fixing to growing.
I like that.
So imagine a workplace where feedback is seen as a gift,
Oh, that's a nice way to think about it.
a chance to learn and improve.
Yeah, not a judgment or a criticism.
Exactly.
And where people actually feel empowered to ask for feedback.
Yes, because they know they're going to receive honest and constructive responses.
Supportive responses.
Yeah, where the focus is on helping them develop their strengths.
Not on pointing out their weaknesses.
Right, and where leaders are really invested in their team's growth.
That sounds amazing.
It does, right?
But, realistically,
Yeah.
that kind of culture shift, it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it takes time and effort.
Yeah, a conscious effort from everyone to change the way we think about feedback.
And the language we use to deliver it.
But it's so worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when people feel valued and supported,
They're more engaged, they're more motivated, they're more productive.
yeah, they're more likely to stay.
Exactly. This focus on individual growth and development, it can be a real game changer for attracting and retaining top talent.
Okay, so to wrap all of this up,
Yes.
if you're ready to ditch the feedback fallacy and start creating this more human-centered approach to feedback.
I highly recommend checking out this article.
Yeah, the feedback fallacy from Harvard Business Review.
It's full of insights and research, and that instead off-tree table is such a valuable tool.
It is so helpful.
So yeah, definitely give it a read and let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
What resonated with you? What challenges do you face when giving or receiving feedback?
Share your experiences with us on social media.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, because the more we can challenge these conventional ideas,
The stronger our HR community will become.
and the better we can make our workplaces.
For everyone.
Absolutely.
You're
So, until next time,
Yeah.
keep learning, keep growing.
And keep diving deep.